Hello, my name is Giovanni Zayas, and today I want to talk about part two of Lab 6, and I will discuss the handling and image analysis of user uploaded images, in this case, marine debris. And I also want to talk about the dashboard itself. So the home page, the image submission history, uh, things like that, latitude, longitude, and country. Okay, well, let's get right down to it. So I'll start my my script. It'll send me to this dashboard link here, and over here I have my marine debris classification dashboard that uses Google's Gemini large language model to process the images. So let's see. In this case, you know, the whole essence of the dashboard is to allow the user to determine whether or not something is marine debris. The user can upload, different file types like JPEG, PNG, WebP, that contain, clear examples of marine debris. They may not, but ideally they should. And the user is also requested to enter, GPS coordinates of the item in question. They can also help by putting in the description of the item, if that's something that they want to do, to hopefully help the image classification model narrow down what it is that it's looking at. So I want to demonstrate a successful classification by the Gemini model uh, uh, over here. So we can say, hey, this glass beverage bottle here. I can say, just to be vague, I can say beverage bottle, right? And some coordinates, I believe it was uh, Midway Atoll. Um, that's what was specified in the NOAA website. I could say Midway Atoll, just to be consistent within the coordinates. And the model should uh, accurately classify the image as marine debris. And here we have it. It classified it as marine debris, otherwise it wouldn't even give a success message. Unfortunately, it marked this down as plastic, which it's not. It's actually glass, as we can see here, due to the reflection of the bottle on the sun. Now, that is why we have the description. So let's say, let's put it in again the second time. Same coordinates and everything. We can say, hey, glass beverage bottle. Let's try not to be so vague, right? Let's see, brown glass beverage bottle. And then this categorization should now say glass. Now we did other. It's kind of finicky in that respect. Um, what's important is that it did categorize it as marine debris. We can take something like this image, for example, you know, um, a car tire. And given that we have a translation layer, also we could say uh, rueda de goma con auto automóvil, which basically means rubber tire with automobile rim. We can say, same coordinates, and that would classify it as, a rubber tire, right? In the United States also, it also classified as marine debris. And we can go down to the image classification history. We can see that, hey, this country was in America, or the country is in the United States of America. Specified latitude and longitude for the Midway Atoll, and it was properly classified as rubber. You can see a few other examples also. Uh, we have the bottle here. We have, you know, a pack of cigarettes. We have aerosol cans that were properly identified. And one of the things that's worth mentioning is that, you know, the model is specifically asked to determine whether the image is or is not marine debris. That is the first thing it has to do. Further, once it does determine that the image is possibly marine debris, it uses the user description uh, as, you know, as a method to narrow down what it is that it's looking at. Once it does determine with, precision that it could be marine debris, then it uses Noah's uh, categorization to determine, hey, whether this item is plastic, it's metal, glass, rubber, processed wood, fabric, etc. So we can test them. We can test that. We can say, hey, we have this other glass bottle here. Let's try to be vague, beverage bottle. Given the image, it should properly determine that, it is glass. But for argument's sake, let's try another country. Let's try the Philippines, right? Philippines coastal. So that should hopefully help the model determine whether it is marine, marine debris or not. Let's hit submit. And here we can see that, hey, this is marine debris. It was properly categorized as glass, and the country is the Philippines. So this type of model can be used uh, in a number of different countries, and its applications can, be used to correctly identify whether or not something is marine debris. We can show that through an extreme example. So I have this pasta bowl here from Venice. I want to test this against the Gemini large language model for image classification. And I want to say that, hey, this is marine debris. Try to throw it off and see if the model can actually try to think of its on its own and determine if it really is marine debris. You can put this somewhere in Italy. So that's where the image is from, right? And put the coordinates in. And here we can see that it is not marine debris. One other thing to note is that if an image is not marine debris, it is not classified in the history. Um, it will not submit the file into the SQLite database, and the corresponding error will basically flash like, hey, this is not marine debris. So we're not even going to bother notarizing it in the history because it doesn't meet that classification. We can also see that the geolocation works all over a bunch of other countries. We have Korea here that you know it identified a flip-flop as marine debris given the specific coordinates. And we can also see that the submission history table is populated by, a number of images, categories, location, countries, etc. And this is important because, the use of different GPS coordinates could potentially show, variations in uh, marine debris. For example, we can have a country where, like Mongolia, where it is landlocked and marine debris isn't really much of a factor in that case. So let's try it. We can see cigarrillos, cartons de cigarrillos, which is basically cigarette carton. We can put the coordinates for Mongolia, that is landlocked. We can say Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital of Mongolia. Put that on the GPS coordinates. And let's see. Now, for some reason, it categorized it as marine debris when it shouldn't have. They properly categorized it as plastic because something to consider is, and the NOAA's website does mention this, is that there's a plastic layer, or basically a plastic film over the cigarette carton that can be a problem as debris. And it properly identified it as, Mongolia. I did try to implement a latitude longitude consideration for image analysis. It was kind of a problem to program that in a timely manner, um, given the 7 other categories that the model has to consider when classifying images. But I hope that this video showed a comprehensive tour of, my application's features, and demonstrated both its core functionality, like uploading, analyzing, logging debris, and the way that it can handle errors, and different types of input that the user may try to use to manipulate the model, like saying that a piece of pasta is marine debris when it's not. I hope you all have a pleasant day. Thank you for your time.